Hello and welcome back to another video, and in this one I'm doing my game week 1 Premier League predictions. We're going to do this every week. We're going to count a score up, and yeah, you get 3 points for correct score and 1 point for correct result. So say, for example, game week 1, one of the games is the one that we're having in the background today, Chelsea-Liverpool. If the game ends 2-0 Liverpool, let's say I predict Liverpool to win 2-0, I get 3 points. If I said Liverpool would win 1-0, I'd get 1 point. If I said Chelsea would win, or it was a draw, I'd get no points. So that's how it's going to work. I've also predicted a guaranteed goal scorer, which gets 1 point. So if they score in the game week, I get a point. And yeah, that's the other thing. As well as, I've forgotten to do this, but my FPL shout, somebody who should go in your FPL team for this week, who I think will do a good job. I'll have to think of that at the end because I forgot to do it. That's also worth a point. Yeah, so FPL shout must have, I think, what was it? I think we said 7+ points. So my FPL shout has to have 7+ points for me to get a point. Obviously I'm doing this a bit differently because I've got a couple extra added things in with FPL shout guaranteed scorer. But that's the basics of what's going on. So, let's just get into it because I've waffled a bit. Game week 1, we've got Burnley versus Man City. That's the first match. So Vincent Kompany against the club he plays for, the club he won most of his trophies at. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. James Trafford also playing against Manchester City for the first time since departing. It should be an interesting one. Burnley, newly promoted, doing a very good job last season in the Championship. City, obviously, the Premier League winners. This game, the Championship winners versus those Premier League winners. But I think Manchester City is still a level above. I do have a feeling, though, Burnley are going to score. I've predicted 2-1 City. I don't think it's going to be an easy task to go to Turf Moor and win. Turf Moor under Sean Dyche was a bit of a fortress, and I don't think it's going to lose that under Vincent Kompany in the Premier League. It's going to be an interesting one, but I've got City winning it 2-1. It's going to be a tight game. There's going to be a few cagey moments, but I think City will just edge it. Moving on to the next game, it's Arsenal against Nottingham Forest. Another interesting one, this, because we got another goalkeeper, same as last game, a goalkeeper playing against his old club. Presumably, I mean, he's been in the squad, he's able to play the game, it's allowed. Matt Turner against Arsenal. We got Nottingham Forest against Arsenal. That should be a very interesting game. Obviously, I support Arsenal, there could be some bias here, but I think Arsenal will win this game. I don't think it's a particularly hard one. Nottingham Forest not particularly good away from home. I don't think they've done the business, Nottingham Forest, to put up more of a challenge. I put them finishing 13th this season, and I have that mainly on home form. I think they'll stay up using their home form. Away from home is going to be a struggle, especially against the big teams. I still think they'll score, but I think Arsenal win the game 3-1 because we're not very good defensively. I say we're not very good defensively, we're quite good defensively, but defence wasn't our strongest point last season. We would concede a lot of goals. We were not massive in keeping clean sheets, to be honest, but we scored a lot of goals and that made up for it. Moving on to the next game, it's Bournemouth against West Ham. Not a classic, this one, but I suppose it also is because there's a lot of interesting facts about this game. Bournemouth tend to do well on the opening games, I believe, and it'll be interesting to see what they can do against West Ham. David Moyes, I don't believe, has ever lost against Bournemouth. Might be wrong in saying that, but I believe that to be the case, and I don't think that record's going to end. I think West Ham will beat Bournemouth 3-0. I think Bournemouth are going to have a very bad season. Really going to struggle. I think it's between them and Wolves, who goes down in 18th, in my opinion. Sheffield United and Luton for me are just gone. So it'll be between those two for me, and I think Bournemouth are going to start the season absolutely atrociously. And I think West Ham will start the season very well. You know, they're off the back of a European trophy win. They're doing a lot of business. Obviously, they've lost Rice, but I think they're signing the right players to go in the right direction there. And I think, realistically, they're going to be good until they start playing European football. That's when it's going to become a lot more difficult for them, because they're going to have a lot more fixtures to play. And when you have more fixtures to play, your players are going to be more tired. And that's going to be a struggle for a lot of teams. But West Ham, I think, will start the season well. And whenever they're not playing European football and they're not playing twice a week, it's going to be a lot easier for them. Because when you're doing Thursday to Sunday, sometimes even Thursday or Saturday, it's always a nightmare. But yeah, they'll start the season well. Moving on now, I've got Brighton against Luton. It's an interesting one, that, because I don't really know Brighton and Luton. Who do we go with? Brighton against Luton. I've put Brighton to win this game 4-1, and I don't think Luton are gonna put up much of a challenge, really. I look at it and I think, because I keep looking at this thinking, can Luton do something? Will Luton get rolled over like I'm expecting a little bit? I think Brighton win this 4-1. I think Luton will score, but I think Brighton will overall destroy them. And that's just because Brighton are a very good team. When they're in Europa League, when that starts up in a month or so, that's going to become a lot more challenging for them. But I think right now they'll be okay. I think they'll beat Luton pretty comfortably. I don't think Luton are going to have a good season at all, as I've made pretty clear. But yeah, it's an interesting one, that. And the next team, these two I think could be very interesting this season, because they've both done decent-ish business. I don't know what Fulham have done actually, but Everton have done decent-ish business, and they both had interesting transfer windows for sure. Because we don't know what's going on with Mitrovic. Will he play? Will he not? We don't know. But yeah, it's going to be interesting for those. I think I'll put this game ending 2-2. I think it's going to be a very interesting one, because both teams, I don't know. Everton just about survived last season. Fulham finished, I think, top half, or maybe 11th. I can't remember, but it was a good season for Fulham. Oh no, it was definitely top half because Chelsea weren't in there. So yeah, Fulham finished top half last season. And yeah, to say they're going to draw feels a bit odd, but realistically, I think Everton have made some big steps in the right direction. Still think they'll be in a relegation battle. Still think they'll finish behind Fulham at the end of the season. But I think the Everton fans at Goodison will be very much on the back of these Everton players supporting them, and I don't think Fulham are going to know what's going on, really. I don't think they I mean, they could win this game. Fulham would probably go into it as favourites. It's an interesting one, but I think it'll end 2-2. Moving on now, Sheffield United against Crystal Palace. I don't know what to say about this one. I really don't know what to say about this one, because I've heard people saying Palace are going to get relegated, but they just always finish in the mid-table somewhere. I put them 11th, I think, which is pretty realistic. They're always around there. Sheffield United, I put them last. I think they're going to get battered pretty much everywhere they go this season. It's not going to be a fairy tale. So I'm kicking them off the season with a 3-0 defeat at home to Crystal Palace. And I think that happens. They're really going in the wrong direction, unfortunately for them. Moving on now, Newcastle against Aston Villa, a very interesting game. 4th against 7th last season. I have a feeling that could be 5th and 6th this season. Villa obviously are going to have European football. Newcastle are going to have Champions League football. But neither clubs will have to deal with that now. Right now, all they've got to do is focus on the league and all that, and I think they'll be okay with that. I think getting into next month when they have European football would be more challenging, but right now I think they'll be okay. And I think, yeah, Newcastle and Villa will draw this game 1-1. I think they're both very evenly matched teams right now, and I think it'll be an interesting season for them. Both clubs will feel this is an important season for their development. Moving on now, this could be controversial. Brentford against Tottenham. I don't think Tottenham have done anything good enough. If Harry Kane leaves as well, they're finished. I'm saying Brentford 3, Tottenham 1. I think Brentford do have the facilities to have a very good season. I don't think Tottenham do. And I think Brentford are going to, at home, get a big result over them on match day 1. It happens a lot, to be fair. I mean, doesn't mean they're going to have a bad season, although I predicted they would. It happens a lot where you lose to a team at the beginning of the season, then you struggle. And it happens to be Brentford quite a lot. Last season, United lost to Brentford and then had a good, decent season. They got battered 4-0. Season before that, we lost to Brentford. Had a alright season till the end. Much improved season, to say the least. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't think that's an unrealistic scoreline. Tottenham could win it, but I think I'd favour Brentford in that game. Moving on now, Chelsea-Liverpool, the big game. I back Liverpool. I can't lie, I back Liverpool. I saw with Nkunku in Chelsea's pre-season form, I thought there's a chance. But now I see nothing. I think it's Liverpool's game. I've put Liverpool 3, Chelsea 1. I think that's more realistic. With Nkunku out for 4 months, I think Liverpool will be fine. There's absolutely no way Nkunku's playing this game, and with Nkunku out, they're not going to be anywhere near as good Chelsea, and I think Liverpool will get the better of them. I can see Nicholas Jackson score. In fact, I'm going to say now I've put him as the guaranteed goal scorer, which might be a slightly controversial pick. I've not put Haaland or someone, but that's my guaranteed goal scorer. I'm just going for a point. I'll try. I'm just hoping they score against Liverpool. I still think Liverpool win 3-1, but I just have a feeling Nicholas Jackson's going to bag. But yeah, I think Chelsea going to have a bad start to the season. When Nkunku comes back, maybe their form will pick up. But at the start, I don't think it's going to go well. Moving on now, Man United, Wolves. Wolves are going to have an awful season. United have an alright season. I don't think United will be pushing too high. I think they'll get top 4 again though. Wolves, deep in a relegation battle, I think. And I think Man United will win this game 3-0, pretty comfortable win. Right, I've done my guaranteed top scorer, I've done the 10 games. Now I need to think about this FPL shout. Who are we going to go with? I'm thinking, I don't know, let's have a look at FPL. Who have I got in my team who could be a shout? Also, a rule about this. I'm not allowed to keep picking the same player regularly. So say I was to pick Haaland this week, I couldn't pick him game week 2. If I was to pick him game week 4 or 5, maybe that'd be allowed, but game week 2, not a chance. Here's my FPL shout. I feel like most people have him in their teams anyway, but I'm going to say it. Estepinian. I think I've predicted Brighton won't keep a clean sheet against Luton. But even if they don't, I think Estepinian's a quality defender who can get involved in chances, get some assists. And I think, to be honest, there's a good chance of a clean sheet there. I don't know, but that's who I'm going to go with Estepinian. I think Brighton have a good chance against Luton, and he's going to be quality. And he should be able to bag 5 points, whether it's an assist, or it's 7 points, sorry. If he gets an assist, but defenders are odd, but I'm going to go with it. Defenders, it's hard to get 7 points without a clean sheet, but I think they could get a clean sheet. They're probably the club with the best chance of doing that. Yeah, that's what we're going to go with. Yeah. So that is going to wrap this up. Thanks for watching. and goodbye.